What if I told you that mastering just a few techniques from TED Talks could help you influence your boss, make better sales pitches, win people over, and even improve your relationships? Why did Simon Sinek's Start With Why go viral with over 64 million views? Why did Brené Brown's talk on vulnerability change how people connect? And what made Sir Ken Robinson's speech on education the most watched TED Talk ever? The answer: they cracked the code on storytelling, persuasion, and connection. And today, I'm breaking down the top 5 most watched TED Talks of all time so you can apply these techniques on your career, in your conversations, and in life. So let's start. Let's admit it. TED Talks are not just speeches. They are blueprints for influence. But the good news is, you don't have to be a public speaker to use these strategies. Think about it. Want to ace that job interview? You need to communicate your story well. Want to convince your boss to approve your idea? You need to frame your argument persuasively. Want to stand out in meetings? You need to deliver your points with clarity and with impact. Want to close that big deal or win that client? You need to make your pitch emotionally compelling. And want to have better relationships? You need to listen, connect, and respond effectively. So let's now break down the top 5 most watched TED Talks ever, and let's learn from each of them. Number 1, Simon Sinek's Start With Why with over 64 million views. His bottom line: if you want to inspire and influence people, whether at work, in business, or in life, you need this concept. First, the key idea is that people don't buy what you do, but they buy why you do it. Why this works? Because Simon uses a simple yet powerful concept, the golden circle. The why, the how, and the what. And the storytelling element, he connects it with real-world examples like Apple, Martin Luther King Jr., and the Wright brothers. So how do we apply this in real life? In job interviews, for example, instead of saying, "I have 5 years of marketing experience," say, "I'm passionate about storytelling because great marketing changes how people feel." In sales and business, instead of saying, "Our products has X features," say, "We created this because we believe people deserve better and easier solutions." In leadership, motivate your team by always tying their work to the greater purpose. As a personal example, when I first launched my podcast, I don't want to just simply talk about marketing or mentoring. Instead, I built it around my personal why, and that is helping underdogs unleash their full potential. Number 2, Brené Brown's The Power of Vulnerability with over 64 million views. We all crave that deep, meaningful connection. But the key to building them isn't what we think. Brené's idea was that vulnerability is not a weakness. Instead, it is the birthplace of courage and connection. Why it worked? Because she made it so personal. And she shared her personal struggles with perfectionism and the shame around it. And the storytelling element that she's used was, using humor and relatability that made her story easier to digest. How do we apply this in real life? In the workplace, we can be open about our personal challenges and our struggles because it builds that trust, authenticity, and connection. In relationships, instead of pretending to have it all together, let's share our real emotions. And in leadership, if you're a manager, showing vulnerability makes you relatable and trustworthy. As a personal example, I felt imposter syndrome so hard. But the moment I embraced my true voice instead of trying to be perfect, that's when I truly connected with people. Number 3, Sir Ken Robinson's Do School Skill Creativity with over 74 million views. This is the most watched TED Talk of all time. Why? Because it hits a nerve with everyone. The key idea, or the thesis, is that traditional education is killing creativity and that we need to rethink learning. Why this worked was because he was a master of blending humor with hard-hitting truths. And then the storytelling element was that he sharing a very touching story about a little girl who struggled in school, but later became a world-renowned dancer. How can we apply the learnings here in real life? For example, in parenting, try to encourage curiosity instead of just grades. In career growth, let's not think about formal education as the only way to achieve real growth. In business, it's about questioning the status quo and challenging ourselves to be more innovative by thinking differently. As a personal example, growing up, I remember being trained and learned to follow the traditional path, but breaking out of this mindset and embracing creativity led me to my biggest career opportunities. Number 4, Amy Cuddy's Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are, with over 67 million views. Would you believe that simply changing your posture can change your confidence, performance, and your success? That's what Amy Cuddy proves in this talk. The key idea was very simple. It's about power posing and how that can rewire our brains to feel more confident. Why this worked? Because it's backed by science and it's so damn easy to apply. As a storytelling element, she shares her own struggle with imposter syndrome and how body language changed her life. To apply this in real life, if, for example, we have big presentations or meetings, simply power pose for 2 minutes before the meeting to help boost your confidence. In job interviews, simply sit up straight, make eye contact, and project that confidence. While in social situations, let us remember that our body language affects how others perceive us. So let's use this to our advantage. As a personal example, before big presentations or big meetings, I do power posing in the bathroom before walking into a meeting, and it shifts my mindset instantly. Number 5, Tim Urban's Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator, with over 7 million views. The question here is, why do we wait the last minute to get things done? Tim Urban explains it in the most hilarious yet most relatable way possible. His key idea is that our brain has a panic monster and it only wakes up when the deadline is close. Why it worked? Because he was so funny, it's visual, and it's painfully relatable. The storytelling element that he used was a very genius analogy. The instant gratification monkey versus the rational decision maker. And how do we apply the learnings here in real life? In our productivity perspective, for example, we can set micro deadlines to activate our panic monster earlier. In business, it's breaking down the bigger projects into smaller tasks to avoid last-minute stress. And in personal life, it's simply stop overthinking and to just do it. So as a personal example, before I was the king of I'll do it later, but now I set deadlines for myself. So in a nutshell, how do we apply these TED Talks learnings in our everyday life? Here's the real takeaway. TED Talks, they're not just interesting. They are practical and you can use it every day. Here's the hack. Want to convince your boss? Start with why. Want to sell something better? Tell a story. Want to connect more deeply? Be vulnerable. Want to build confidence? Fix your body language. Want to get stuff done? Beat procrastination with real deadlines. Now it's your turn. What's the most powerful TED Talk you've ever watched? And what have you learned from them? Drop it in the comments below. And if you found this valuable, show some love. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and let's keep learning from the best together.